What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Wisco Boater channel. My name is Chad, and it's been a few weeks since I've done any sort of update with the Bosun build. I haven't been up to Door County to Sturgeon Bay to work on Clifford at all because the building is closed. I can't get in. So one of these days, hopefully, I'll be able to get back to work on that because I do have things I have to finish up before that boat goes in the water, which is supposed to be May 8th. We'll see. I have no idea if that's going to work out or not. But, you know, I've been working on the Bosun project here and there. I did get the bottom boards finished and put in place. They're not glued in place yet, and that's mainly what this episode is going to be about. But I wanted to show you a little something that I've been working on. In the meantime, it's kind of pushed the Bosun project off just a little bit, and that's totally okay because this is a boating channel, first and foremost. Secondly, a boat building channel, and what I'm doing right now is technically building a boat. Right behind me there, that is going to be a Titanic-ish looking toy. Now, my neighbor, who's been out on the tugboat with me with his two boys, his son Sawyer is really into the Titanic. And about, probably 3 weeks to a month ago, Sawyer asked me if I could build him a toy Titanic. And I've been toying around with his idea, trying to figure out how to do it. And there's no real set of plans for a toy Titanic out there that I could find that looked good enough to do. So I'm just kind of winging this as I go, making it up on my own. But let me show you what I'm working on here, and we'll get back to the Bosun here shortly. All right, so this is a 50-inch long boat-shaped project at this point. The idea here is for him to be able to play with this in his basement. So I put it on wheels, and I just took some caster wheels, took the casters apart, mounted the wheels with some steel rod through some blocks, front and back, and this is going to simulate the water line. So I'm not building a keel on this boat. It's not designed to float. He asked me if I could make it float. I don't know if I can do that or not, but anyway, it's designed to roll on a hard surface and be able to, you know, play with some Legos or something on it. So this point is, it's just a rough shape of a plan form view of the Titanic. It's not going to have, well, the Titanic has a pretty straight up and down bow. I'm not going to be able to boat tail the stern of it, but it'll be painted to look like the Titanic. It'll have a little top portion here with the 4 masts that'll be on it. I just got done cutting out the sides that are just made up of some 1/8-inch fiberboard, and I'm going to get those installed on the side. So that's really all I'm going to show of this project until I get it done. But as I said, we'll get back to the Bosun project here in just a minute, but I'll show you the Titanic when it's done. All right, it's another week or so later, and I've finished up the Titanic toy that's sitting right behind me here. I'll show you in just a second what it looks like. I'm gonna get it delivered over to my neighbor's kid this afternoon, and he is just going to flip out about this thing, I think. So this is gonna be really fun, but let's take a look at it. All right, so being that this is a toy version of the Titanic, it's not perfectly accurate, nor is it to scale in any way. The bottom paint is, you know, way higher out of the water as it would be normally. You would only see basically the black. The yellow stripe's a little thicker than it would be. The tops of the gunnels here are taller, not to scale. Of course, the windows are bigger. They're kind of cartoonish. And the other thing is that the real Titanic, the sides of the cabin structure came all the way out to the hull, and basically was a part of the freeboard of the boat. But since he's going to be playing with Legos around this thing, I wanted him to make sure to have some place to put little Lego guys. But yeah, this came out really nice. There's the back of it. And it is on wheels, so Sawyer will be able to roll this around in his basement very easily, and he'll have a blast with it. So I don't think I'll be able to video the actual delivery or the presentation of the Titanic to him, but rest assured he is going to love this thing. So anyway, now let's get back to building the Bosun. I've got quite a bit of work to do on it to get the bottoms finished out. I gotta take all the screws out, take the bottoms off. There's 4 pieces. I need to glue those back down, and then I'll start working on the various keels. I think there's 5 of them. They need 5 keels and then 2 chine rubbers that I have to start working on. It's been about a month or so since I've done anything with this, so it's time to get back onto the Bosun project. What I'm going to do today is take off the bottom boards, the front half and the back, and I need to take both halves off, and I'm going to glue on each side individually just to be sure I have enough screws. I don't want to plan on doing both sides and then run out of screws. I think I have enough, but I may be short, so just going to do one side at a time. After that, we'll start working on the keels and chine rubbers and stuff like that. So, time to start unscrewing everything and taking it apart once again. All right, so I got the back half off. Thought I'd pause here just for a second with the fast forward to show the front piece come off. And you can see it's got a very nice curve to it. It's gonna stay that way, and it's gonna make it a lot easier to put back on. Just letting it sit for 3 weeks to a month or whatever it was a good decision, because this is going to go back on very easily. I think I'll kind of just leave it right there while I take the other side off. Not going to record the other side because it's the same as this side, but I'll be right back when it's time to start laying down some resin. So I've got 6 tablespoons of resin mixed up, a 3-inch brush, which is overkill for what I'm going to do, but I'm going to start with the front section. I think I have enough epoxy to do the entire side, but I'm going to start with the front just to be sure because it's the bigger piece. So I'll get that laid down, get it all screwed down, and then move to the back section. If I lose the resin before I get to the back section, that's fine. That's just kind of how things sometimes go. So. Here's the first piece finished up. I did end up using some steel screws right there just because the brass ones were stripping out a little bit, but these are all going to be covered up with resin and paint anyway, so not going to worry too much about those. Also threw a couple of steel screws right here just because I needed some additional length and a nice coarse grip. There are no screws right here, but everything's held nice and tight up against the epoxy. At some point down the road, I will fair this off with some either Cavasil resin or flocked cotton resin. and just make a nice thick slurry to cover that up, make it nice and strong, do it on the inside and out. That first batch that I mixed up was 6 tablespoons. It was just enough to do this piece, so I'm glad I did this piece first. The back part there, I'll mix up 3 tablespoons. That'll be plenty for that. And then I know that I gotta do 6 and 3 on that side, if I have enough screws. So time to mix up a little bit more epoxy and do the back half on the starboard side. I've just decided I'm going to go ahead and do the port side bottom front piece, just because I don't want this to have any sort of spring back if I have to wait a day. I might be barely short on screws along the hog, but that's okay. As long as I can get it secured down and cured, I can always add screws later. So. I'm confusing myself on which side is which now. But anyway, this side is all screwed in place. I do have to go get some more screws. I have enough, probably have enough 3/4 inch screws to do the back pieces, but I need some 1 to 1 1/4 for the hog and along the transom. So I have to make a quick run to the hardware store, get another 50 screws or so, and should be good to go to finish up the back section here before too long. It is the next day. The front halves are completely solid. Got a little bit of sanding to do just from some of the grain in the wood sticking up a little bit, some sharp edges here, so I'll knock those down. Got a nice trough right here that's been filled with resin. The whole bottom of the hull here gets leveled off for the center keel. So I'm gonna do that before I fill that gap with resin, before I put that keel on. But today I'm gonna work on getting the aft pieces glued in place. And after that, that's probably enough for this video. I think it's probably getting long enough at this point. And then the next one, I'll start working on figuring out the 5 keels and the chine rubbers. So, but this turned out really, really good. It's nice and solid. So time to work on the stern end of the boat. Well, I went ahead and glued that side on without recording it, just because the camera angle didn't really work out all that well. So I'll record this side as it goes on. I, again, am going to be short on screws. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time figuring out how many screws I need. I mean, I guess if I counted the holes, I probably could get a pretty accurate count, but it's, I'm not doing that. I'm just estimating. And there are apparently more screw holes in this than I think there is. So, but I have enough to get it glued down and probably make another run to the hardware store. I've already been there once today, but I'll go back and get some more. But let's get this thing glued down in the meantime. Back part, stern end is done, installed. I am 8 screws short, but I'm not worried about it. Everything is nice and tight. I've got full confidence that the epoxy will bond to the wood without any problems. You can see just a couple of spots here where there's missing screws, same on that stringer. So just 8 screws missing in that area, but I've got the middle pretty well covered with screws. I might go ahead and just go grab some just utility screws that I've got out in the garage just to cinch those up until I can go get some more brass screws and replace those with. So not a big deal. Happy to have this part done. We'll see you next time on the Wisco Boater channel, where I will start working on the keels as mentioned and the chine rubber. And I do want to mention, let me go outside here real quick and I'll show you. The tugboat, as it sits in the back of the garage, is going to be moved this weekend, and I'm going to start prepping it for spring launch. So watch for that video coming up real soon. In the meantime, go back and watch a bunch of other videos that I put out there on building this boat, building the tugboat, Clifford, enjoying Clifford, maintenance on Clifford, that sort of stuff. Thanks for watching. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell if you'd like to be notified when I put out a new video, hit the like button, and send me some comments if you'd like to. We'll see you next time on the Wisco Boater channel. Happy boating, everybody.